Okay. I will continue with let's say topics as my previous colleagues about the data, automations, threads, and so on. So, name is Cupka from Flowmon Networks. Just a little bit introduction of the Flowmon company because many of you don't know the company. Okay, so just a short introduction, and we will talk about the use case from the utility segments using the Flowmon solution for forensics and predictive behavior monitoring. The client is part of the critical infrastructure with a lot of legal requirements to protect and handle and manage this kind of the critical infrastructure, serving hundreds, thousands of the clients with electricity power. The main challenge was understand deeper what's going on in the network, so provide a deeper network visibility and security, and have a possibility and a chance to automation in operation and a security aspects. And additionally, provide any kind of the data, collecting the data traffic recording for a forensics analytics. It's a big deployment because it has 3 main locations, 3 big data centers, which is provided based on the disaster recovery approach. All data centers are, let's say, covered from the perspective of communication visibility, local area networks, backbone core. Also have a visibility to the communication from and to the internet, and SCADA ICS critical industry infrastructure environment. All of these, let's say, network visibility installations are collecting the data and archiving it for 2 years ago for additional forensics analytics and reporting or real-time alerting. This kind of the solution is a part of the Security Operations Center, so solutions is fully integrated into the Security Information and Event Management System. The main challenge is that have a possibility to provide the traffic recording and on-demand packet capturing, which is, let's say, not so sensitive on amount of the terabytes data collecting and archiving. So the client using this kind of the solution instead of the continuously packet capturing. So in case of any kind of the operational or security issue, is able to provide the traffic recording and analysis in a perspective of the forensics. So we have had a really sophisticated phishing attack in 3 vectors, one a digital, 2 a physical, and it was a very painful from the legal and operational perspective in this kind of the environment. So we have been provided from the collecting data really deep and detailed analysis to find out the root case and actually the right person who was the first to open and read the email, to open the file, and spread the attack from the mail attachment. It was a very sophisticated phishing attack because used the 2 weeks old company domain. So many employees knows that the domain name was changing in 2 weeks. So we have been, through the forensics process, able to find what happened, which person or who was the first person to open and run this kind of the attack and spread this malware in the network. We have found many communication inside the network also using the other phishing sources and trying to tune the system to alert of this suspicious behavior to avoid any kind of the similar phishing aspects. Because as we know, almost 90% of the real security incidents are starting in companies because of phishing. But it was another malicious codes inside the networks, and the colleague from Twin Micro told about the old vulnerabilities using the old exploits in the network. So we have found also in this kind of the network really old malicious code that exploits vulnerabilities into the Windows 2000 and Windows XP. And the company and this kind of the utility organization, it's using really new and fresh security tools. So it's very interesting that the modern company trying to protect himself against the, let's say, modern threats is always affected by this kind of the old vulnerabilities into the network. What's the most important nowadays is cryptojacking, which is very famous against the comparing with the ransomware, for example. Who knows what the cryptojacking is? Hands on? Okay. So cryptojacking is if the attacker or someone in using your devices or servers or endpoint devices like laptops or mobile phones to mine the cryptocurrencies. Really simple explanation. This kind of, let's say, problem is increasing really rapidly comparing the last year. So when we are doing any kind of the audits, security audits using this kind of the tool on a client side, maybe 15% of the endpoint devices are affected by the cryptojacking issue. So it's a really huge number. How the cryptojacking is, let's say, happening into the corporate and not only corporate environment. The threat actor is able to affect any kind of the web server, any kind of the website. And users or employees in the company are clicking or using this kind of the website, and is any kind of the pop-up window, are able to, let's say, install any kind of the malicious code, for example, into the Java, the type of the JavaScript, into the internet, Google Chrome or Mozilla or whatever. And no one knows that something is happening. The attacker is communicating with a third party, which is able to change the performance of the endpoint devices, like a CPU, on a cryptocurrency. This is very effectively and easily detected in real time using by Flowmon solutions, anomaly detection system, for example, using the machine learning and artificial intelligence. That is something is happening in real time, and some attacker is using the endpoint devices. What's the worst? We have examples that the attacker or threat actor is able to gain control over our web server in a company, in organizations, using any kind of the type of the attacks that are like HTTP dictionary attacks, RDP dictionary attacks, and more, go beyond the firewall and use the open port and gain the control over the server. And again, internal or external users are using this kind of the server, application server, are affected by the cryptojacking again. If we are using the Flowmon in automation mode, we are able, before something happened, some cryptojacking happened, detect that open port of this kind of the, let's say, suspicious behavior using, and provide to information to firewall to block the communication before the cryptojacking is happening, actually. So we have had we have provided any kind of the forensics and the environment, and provide any kind of the recommendations. First is that it should be fully integrated between the Flowmon and the other third parties, mainly firewall, for real-time detection and the blockation from the perspective of firewall of the, let's say, this kind of the attacks, type of the attacks, which are not blocking before by the firewall. So more integration with the firewall for real-time APT or zero-day detection and blockation. Also, we have been blind because of proxy servers. So end-to-end visibility providing by the Flowmon before and behind the proxy server give us really nice, let's say, informations about the source and destination of the communication. Also, we have been moved deeply into the SCADA environment to have a visibility from the point of PLC's devices through the SCADA network to the interoperable environment, like enterprise environment or internet environment, because of many requirements in this kind of the critical infrastructure, industry infrastructure regarding the deep visibility because of new connected devices detection of suspicious behavior using backdoors on industry devices, or performance bottlenecks on industry devices. What's happening in this kind of the network, because this client and this organization is the utility segment on a vertical organization, is also using any kind of the industry environment, industry network, SCADA network, ICS network. So The administrators are struggling with a lot of segmentations, DMZs, and whatever. But the advantage is that this kind of the network has a stable flow data. So any kind of the changes in this kind of the environment could mean any kind of the operational or security issue. So if the attacker, let's say, affect any kind of the application server, again, going through the firewall or group of firewalls, it could happen, and it means, for example, a kind of the ransomware, in effect, after the spreading the attack. Sometimes the internal human resources affect the infrastructure using the external devices, putting any kind of the USBs or laptops or whatever, connecting to this kind of the network. And again, it's affecting the infrastructure, for example, with any kind of the botnet spreading and communicated outside of the environment with the command and control, for example. So we have been used the Flowmon solutions for extended visibility and, let's say, anomaly detection in the real time. And we're able to detect this kind of the suspicious, very dangerous behavior in the real time. So help the organization have a visibility not only in the enterprise environment, but also in the industry environment. And this kind of the environments are fully interoperable at this moment and in these times. Okay, so if you are thinking about the advanced security or operational network monitoring, data collecting, forensics, you should, let's say, think more about the whole life cycle to protect the organization and have the more visibility and chance to analyze any kind of the issues. So from the prevention, move more to the automated detection using any kind of the other integrated tools with the automation or classifications, provide a fast response on any kind of the issue or event or security event or operational event or mainly security incident to recovery and forensics, and support this kind of the prevention all the time and think about it like a whole, let's say, security monitoring life cycle. So let's say use any kind of the best practices, try to find the sources which could be fully automated, provide to administrators with the right tools, which is effective, and reduce the time to identify any kind of the operational or security issue root cases. So this is about the Flowmon, any kind of the use case from the utility segment vertical. Thank you for your attention. If you have additional questions, we have a booth with the F5 and Aleph distribution company, I think, on this floor. So thank you very much.